This is the 217 Recovery Podcast with Corey Winfield.
And yeah, it was hell when he would go in there and go through detox, but I didn't care because I knew he needed to and I didn't want him to die. But maybe he wanted to die, but I'd heard him say enough times when he was sober that he didn't want to die.
I think she could have wrapped it up a little quicker. Thanks, Mom, for the intro today. 21st of November 2020. It's 217 Recovery Podcast. My name is Corey Winfield. 1 week from today, 7 days, big day for me. Mm-hmm. That'll mark the 2-year anniversary of me telling that cop he can't take me to jail.
I was going to wait for what it was, but...
You didn't see me driving, man. I was just sitting in my car, bro. Can't take me to jail. I mean, it was longer, played out a little bit different than that, but basically that's what happened. Mm-hmm. So yeah, changed my life for the better. Sometimes you have to go through those bad moments and where you think, oh, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me.
Maybe it's not. Maybe it's the best thing.
Retrospect, it's probably the best thing. Mm-hmm. You know, my sister said she had prayed for me to go to jail. And she was like, I don't know how, because you don't drink and drive, so... I
think that's a common thing, actually. I think a lot of loved ones of people in addiction, sometimes they're like, I hope they just find themselves somewhere where they are forced to have to, you know, stay clean and sober. And
it wasn't jail that helped me.
Right.
You know, it was just actually having consequences. Mm-hmm. And real life consequences. So, you know, there's my thoughts on that.
Right.
But yeah, it was great. It was a good time. Not really. But I'm having a great time today. If that wouldn't have happened, man, who knows? I'd be dead somewhere. My liver would shut down again. Probably wouldn't have met my future wifey. I can guarantee that pretty much. Yeah, we never would have met. And you've been so sad and lonely.
I know.
What would you be doing? Oh, no.
I have no idea. See, but everything happens for a reason, and here we are.
Mm-hmm. So last week, too, we were kind of talking about changing last names because, of course, we're getting married next month. Mm-hmm. And I was just thinking, like, man, that's got to be tough for a woman, like, her whole life. You know, can I date that guy? No, his last name's Cockledinger or something, you know, and you're like, oh, it can't be Marney Cockledinger or like that. What was the movie, Wedding Crashers? Or
no, Wedding Singer. Wedding Singer when it's Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore. And in the movie, her name's Julia, and the man her fiance's name is something Gulia. And so she's standing in her wedding dress in front of this mirror. She just tried it on, and she's like fake introducing herself. And she says, hello, my name is Julia Gulia. And she starts bawling, crying. So yeah, I mean, in that case, I would have felt bad for her. I mean, nobody can not date people because of their last names.
I'm sure.
Like, this isn't going to go anywhere because your last name is terrible.
I'm sure there are people that have done that. And as a man, I don't ever have to worry about that. But now seeing the come to Jesus moment you're having, it's like, wow, like this is a struggle. This is extra layer of stress that women have to go through.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, we were talking about this yesterday, and I was saying how it never occurred to me that that's something that I would do, is change my name. So I don't know if that says purely that I never was actually involved with anyone who I cared that much about, you know, to where I wanted to have that connection and that commitment to. I mean, I don't know if people look at that as that, but I was just like, I am not changing my name for a man. I was very, very sure of the fact that I was going to be Marnie Liston for the rest of my life, and because that's who I was. But you meet somebody and you fall in love, and the idea is that, you know, you're joining this partnership, you know, that's forever, and that's just kind of a way to show that, you know, to the world. So I think it's a beautiful thing, and I'm excited about it.
Plus, it's like a billionaire's name. So I think when you heard Adam say that in one of those opens, you're like, oh, that's Winfield.
I don't know if everybody thinks that way, but
I don't know, but it's interesting though that you were like, nah, I'll just be listening. That's cool.
Yeah.
And for me, it's an honor. You know, it really is. Mm-hmm. And
for me to take your name?
Yeah. It's special to me. And so, like, if you were to say, I'm not taking your last name, I'm Marty, listen, that's who I am. I don't know.
Well, that's what I would. That's what I did say for the longest time. You know, not that I ever was even close to, you know, that close to getting married, really. But yeah, no, I probably would have been a little bit more smooth in my presentation if that's how I really felt. But
I'm
it's
not taking your name. You unload the dishwasher, bro.
That's the farthest thing from how I really feel. So. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure, and there's nothing wrong with it. I know a lot of, you know, women who've decided to, or hyphenate, what have you. And I get that too, I guess, you know, but I don't think it is losing who I am by any means, you know. So.
It's the first step in creating our family.
Right.
Of 10,000 babies.
Oh, God. I don't know about that, but
you know how babies get made.
I do.
So it'll be fun. Nah, that's enough of that talk. There was a review, like, because the people are getting the app now, and more people are getting the app from the Google Play Store, from the App Store, the Apple App Store, and somebody had left a review because I just had to pull up some stuff because Google sent me some things saying, hey, new service terms and blah, blah, blah. And okay, so I'm going to look at it. And then like put me in this thing where I could read reviews, which was pretty cool. And somebody left a review on Google. It's from Ricky. We'll call him Ricky W. He said, gave us 5 stars.
Oh, right.
Which is very cool. Thanks, Ricky. Great people and honest about their recovery. Love you guys. Keep up the good work. I'm proud of all you guys. How does that make you feel, Marnie?
Oh, because you use the word guys?
Yeah.
It doesn't bother me. It's pretty common.
Are you okay?
People use that in reference to collective way to say you people. I mean,
It's one of the guys now?
I participate as a woman, as a co-host, you know, and usually about 3 out of the 4 podcasts a week, generally. Sometimes all of them, you know. And I love it. I'm just one of the guys. Is that what you mean? There's only 2 of us here, so.
It's just the guys hanging out tonight.
Thanks, Rick. It's okay. I'll let it go.
Yeah, she's forgiving. Speaking of forgiving, and I played my mom on open for a reason today, because you and I have been kind of going through similar situations in our recovery, and lately anyway, with other people. Mm-hmm. And my mother is someone who helped me. Your mother is somebody who helped you. And I remember a time, and I'll get to the point of the story in just a minute too, but I remember there was a time when my mom and I made a pact. And she agreed to do one thing, and I agreed to not drink again. It was a horrible idea to even make that stupid little pact. But I did. And my mom was supposed to show up at an AA meeting. She's like, yeah, I'll go, because it was an open meeting. And I was like, all right, cool, I'll see you there. And she didn't show up. And then I found out, oh, okay, well, she's going back on her word. Well, I'm going to go back on mine. I'm going to drink. And it wasn't necessarily like, hey, this is your fault I drink. But it was just like, hey, I'm going to drink then. You know, and I don't really remember a time where I would say, I mean, I would drink for a reason. Like, oh, I'm sad, or oh, I'm pissed off, or whatever. But I wouldn't say like, well, it's your fault because you weren't there, and because what was I supposed to do? And you know, I don't think I took it that far in my memory. My mom's probably like right now trying to dial the phone. Corey, you're so stupid. You don't remember this and that. But it was ultimately always my fault. Like I knew, like, okay, I'm the one who, you know, didn't make the right decision in that moment, and or whether I thought I could get away with it. And most of the time, that's what I thought I could do. I could get away with it, and then it ended up, no, I couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
So, yep, I'm just a loser, piece of crap. Feel like just horrible person. You know, sometimes I felt like I would rather just die, and that would be easier for my family. And ultimately, I didn't want to die. But in those moments of hardcore relapse and then withdrawal,
people feel that way a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's sad, but it's so true that is a common feeling. I myself, those thoughts cross my mind too, is that the world would be a better place without this confusion that I'm making with everything. And, you know, I'm doing everybody a favor if I wasn't around. And that does not make you crazy to think that way. I mean, I think it's more common than people actually admit, you know, in addiction to feel that way. And, you know, I'd hope to God that, you know, that people, you know, would actually work through those feelings and come to resolve that, you know, that is not the answer by any means. And nobody would want that. But it is that desperation and that hopelessness will put you in a very dark and lonely spot. And when you feel like there are no answers and you're so lonely and so afraid that you don't even know who to ask for answers at this point. And so I would just say, you know, to everyone who's experienced that time, that those feelings and those thoughts, to recognize and kind of reflect on, you know, how it is that you kind of at least stayed afloat, you know, stayed on top of it enough to where, you know, come around to know that there is a solution, and you just got to find what that is for you. And it's different for everybody, you know. It's hard because, I mean, I don't want to come on here. Like, I feel like sometimes we come on here and we are like preaching rehab, you know, like you got to go to rehab to get yourself right. That's not always necessarily the case,
right.
You know, and I think we need to make that clear because, I mean, just because that's what I did,
mm-hmm.
and rehab was a huge piece of because it gave me time and the skill set that I learned while I was there to be able to work on the issues of my life. And it gave me skills to take with me to keep working on the BS that I hadn't gotten to yet. You know what I'm saying? And to kind of slow things down. And the acceptance piece is huge. If you haven't read the blog that I posted, I don't know, like a month ago, I think, the Get Honest blog, I talked a lot about the whole concept of really breaking things down to the nitty gritty and, you know, realizing that you need to admit complete defeat. And that's actually the next one. But that we spend all this time running around pointing fingers at the things of why we are how we are and why we do what we do, you know, to somehow validate the fact that we can't put down the drink or drug, because we don't understand why, and because it's since we don't have an answer and we don't understand why and we can't stop it, we want to blame it on something else, something or someone else that's not us. And that, you know, it makes sense, you know, that we want to feel that way because we want to be like, what is the answer? And if I don't know, then I can't fix it. And only you can figure out, you know, how to overcome your addiction and how to deal with it on a daily basis. Whether it's, you know, prayer, counseling, therapy, combination of all of that, mm-hmm. rehab.
It's very hard to do on your own.
It's extremely hard to do on your own.
I would say almost impossible. But some people, hey, that's fine. You know, and I'm not saying that they had less of a substance use disorder than I had, but hey, man, to each his own. And all I know is how I feel, and I feel great, you know, seeing a therapist. And, you know, I went to treatment too. So everybody is different, though. One thing that I taught my mom was to never argue with a drunk. Someone who's drunk, don't argue with them. You're welcome, Mom. Glad I taught you that lesson.
Mm-hmm.
And she found out that, yeah, you know, if you argue with someone who's been drinking about